here in life. I'll walk through dark valley, and I question, oh Lord, when I don't understand, then I hear Jesus say, my child, just keep looking, for over the mountain is a beautiful land. Someday I shall stand on the top of Mount Zion, and I'll get to look into Canaan's fair land. I will sing and I'll shout when I reach that city, and I never shall walk in the valleys again. Someday I shall walk through death's lonesome valley, but Jesus, my Lord, He will hold to my hand. Yes, thanks be to God. Death will be just a shadow when on top of Mount Zion I shall stand. Someday I shall stand on the top of Mount Zion, and I'll get to look into Canaan's fair land. I will sing and I'll shout when I reach that city, and I never shall walk through the valleys again. I don't know how long it's been since we've been out. Seems like forever.
Too long,
And I'm in agreement with Brother Larry to an extent with having your rights just stomped all over. But it really shows you the mindset of this world, this government. I don't care if you're a Trump guy, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care what you are. The fact of the matter is they don't care about what we're doing right here today. If they did, they would realize the difference in what's essential and what's not.
Amen. That's right.
Because I know that over the past little bit, I've had a lot of people. It's been nothing but misery, it seems like. If you haven't been an essential worker and you haven't been out every single day, you have no idea what it's like out there right now. Because there's no refuge for those who need the refuge.
Amen.
There's no place for a lot of people to go. It wasn't long after they shut down the churches, one of my counterparts, his aunt, She just died of a respiratory illness. They don't know if it was COVID-19, what it was. But he went to her funeral and he said it was awful. There was no way they could properly pay their respects to their aunt. And it wasn't a week later when we had these storms last month that a tree down there at his mom's house fell on their house and pinned his mom and killed her. Just a week after he had put his aunt to rest. And he went out to the church house that they had her at, the little funeral home, and couldn't pay respect to her the way that they should. Maybe 10 people allowed in at a time. Couldn't do it the way that you should be able to do. And you know, on the prayer list, the last time we were here, I had a counterpart, Mark Smith, and his mom was in the same nursing home as Nana here. And it wasn't long after they shut the churches down. Mark, he was out of work for a few days because his mom passed away, and he couldn't even go see her because they shut the nursing homes down, and he couldn't even get in there to her, and he had to have the same kind of funeral for her. We take a lot of things for granted here today. It wasn't long after that, one of my employees, his name's Matt, he called me. I woke up and I had a voicemail, couldn't hardly understand it because he was crying so hard. The cops had pulled his brother over. He was in a bad way with a lot of bad people, but pulled his friends and his brother over, him sitting in the back seat. And you know, the cop thought he was reaching for something and shot him, killed his brother. And you know, he had no refuge. He had no way of talking about it. He was just broken, and this is the kind of place those broken people need. And you know, just like Renita, she comes in my office and asks me if I can hold prayer for her because she's worried. It hadn't been long ago she had survived breast cancer, and you know, now they're worried that those nodules in her lungs could be something with her condition. And you know, she comes in there, she said, I can't hardly look at anything anymore. She said, I've got a little pink blanket in my house that I used to wear when I was going through chemo, and now I look at it and it terrifies me. It's a constant reminder. And you know, I've been able to have church a couple times since we haven't been here. She asked me to hold prayer for her, and I asked her, have you ever had anybody lay hands on you? Are you comfortable with that kind of thing? And you know, she said the same thing that I hear a lot of people say. I haven't seen nobody get hands laid on them since I was a little girl when I used to go to those old-timey churches. And you know, I haven't preached in forever, but I felt like I preached on my knees because all I could do was just call out and cry. There in my office, I didn't care where I was. Just crying out, God, let that blanket be a reminder, not of the cancer, but how far you brought her. I prayed and prayed and talked about Brother Larry. I talked about my wife. I talked about, God, if I have a blessing coming my way, you blessed me enough. Now let it just pass on and go to her if it need be. But I tell you here today, this world, it's all worried about this right here, about the flesh.
That's right.
When it all started, I didn't have a weekend off for 5 weeks. I think until Easter, I didn't have a day off. And you know, you start getting aggravated, knowing that there's a disease out there and that getting people sick, and you got to be in it every day. And you're working with a group of people that are terrified as well. And the social distancing and all this, it's not natural. And it starts wearing on people. And you know, it just shows you how this world is. We make cigarettes, that is not essential. But the money that you get from the taxation of cigarettes is very essential for them to keep shelling out money and doing whatever they want. That's why I have to continue to work. And you know, they talk about the food industry. It's essential. Yeah, you have to eat. The people who make bottled waters and any kind of food drinks, they're essential and they got to be working. The healthcare workers, they have to be working, obviously. But you know, this world, those people sitting in power, this government, they don't realize that this is more essential to me than anything else. Because I know that when Renita has to go and get that biopsy done, she can't just put it in the hands of man. It would be essential for her to lean on my God. Listen, you can't keep closing his doors. I had somebody ask me, where's he at now? We've shut him out again. It seems like every time something goes wrong, the first thing to go is this right here. And they proved it once again that when the world is coming crumbling down all around you, we don't need the church. That's not essential. Listen, I came here this morning because I've been hungry. And you know, this is where I can get fed here today. This is what's essential to me. I'm thirsting for my God here this morning. This is essential for me to be able to live my life. And you know, on Easter, it wasn't the same. I'm telling you, I didn't enjoy it. I've been watching them preach online. And you know, I had somebody come in my office and say, I think they're on to something that's going to be easier on a lot of people. No, if you enjoy that, if you have been content with sitting in your house, then did you know my God to begin with? Because this is where God's people go. If you're content with not serving Him, then listen, you're on the wrong side of the fence. You're not straddling. You can't straddle this fence. Either you're on one side or you're on the other. And I choose to be on this side here today because it's essential here this morning for me to be able to wake up. It felt so good to drive my family out of this little church today. And if you brought your children out today, you brought your spouse out today, and if you didn't just feel the Spirit when you knew where you were going and what you were going to do today, then I'm afraid you're doing it all wrong. If you haven't been thirsting, if you've been able to watch it on the internet and be totally content with it, you need to search yourself because there's a problem. Listen, I would have loved to have been in Kentucky and have been able to stand up there with those brothers. I didn't need to preach. I wouldn't have had to sing, but I need to be there because I don't know about a lot of things. I don't have the answers to a lot of stuff, but I know that where 2 or 3 men gather,
that's right.
That book tells me He'll be there.
Amen. Yeah. Bless you,
So
Lord.
I've had a lot of good times by myself, just praying, thinking about what I would say if I got up here today. And you know, all I could... Rachel asked me this morning if I had my Bible, and I said no. Because I don't know where I would even begin. It's been so long. I would be content with just standing up here and crying for 10 minutes, however long you'd let me stand up here and cry. Because it's been so long. And you really don't realize how much you need this until it's gone.
Amen.
Until they close the doors.
That's right.
And at first, I was kind of on board with it, you know. I was worried that if I had it and came in here that I could get you guys sick, or Brother Larry, Mama should just been in the nursing home. But you know, I was worried about myself too. That I would get it. But you know what? I was sick all the way up until the time that we stopped doing this here, and we had to take a break. I'm just now getting to where I can breathe good. I could have had it for all I know, but all I know is that all the breath in the world don't mean anything if I'm not breathing for Him today. This world can give me that virus and take my breath away, but until the moment they would have to turn that ventilator off, listen, all my breath, all my energy, all my time, listen, it would be dedicated to Him. Listen, little Samantha Muncie, while we were out, passed away. She had been quiet for weeks. Had her in a hospital up there in Kentucky, and then we find out that she's gone, and they couldn't have that little funeral for her the way that they wanted, and all I could think about was a time when she first got sick, and I got together with all those friends of mine up in Kentucky that remembered who I used to be, listen, and didn't understand what it was that I was holding on to. I had an atheist in that living room. Listen, I had a couple atheists in that living room. I had everyone one in there that didn't proclaim to be a Christian. They were raised in it, so they just didn't really question it.
That's right.
I even had some there that were pagans. But when I got down at Samantha's feet and I cried out to God and I asked Him to reach down and just prolong her life long enough, not for herself, but so she can continue to do His work. Listen, when I got up off my knees, the atheist was crying. Listen, the pagan was in the corner crying because no matter what you believe here today, I was in the same shape where I didn't believe any of this and thought it was silly, but somebody spoke that name one day and it made an atheist boy just burn inside and it broke my heart. Listen, and that heart of stone, listen, brother, it started to beat. And you know, Brother Chris and them took me down in those waters and they dipped me down one day, and when I came up, things have been different.
Ever since?
That's right.
Because I've got, everybody's looking for that purpose.
Thank you, Jesus.
Looking for
Bless you, Lord.
looking for their reason for existence. What am I here for? What can I do? And everybody wants to come up with something new, and they don't want to be just like everybody else.
Thank you, Jesus.
All I know is that I've been studying the histories of these churches, and the carnal things in this world is what's tearing us down.
Oh, yeah.
Not only in the government, but in these churches. If you look back at the history, listen, they were looking for ways to attract the carnal man, so they started doing things in a carnal way.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just kept, in order to keep that carnal man, you're going to have to add more carnal things to it until these churches started getting big. They started getting enormous. There was money going everywhere. There was authority given to people everywhere. That's what they were thirsting for. Listen, but then there would be just small handfuls of people in these churches, little small churches like this, where it's not about money. It's not about authority. It's about coming out and serving this man. We don't need the carnal things of this world. We don't need big flashing lights. Listen, we don't need this building if we don't have anywhere else to go. We can serve this God, my God, anywhere. In my office at work, in my car, Brother Larry, in my living room. He's been awful good to me here this morning.
That's right.
I'm thankful that despite my many shortcomings, that despite the person that I used to be, He still found favor in me. Just for a moment of time. Just to bless me. Multiple times that He blessed me and I turned Him away.
Oh, Lord.
You know what? It wasn't an altar call that saved me.
No.
It wasn't the little youth groups that we have everywhere. If anything, that confused me at one time. I had a man tell me once that I was saved because he held a prayer. No, it wasn't until I started hearing about the Word of God. Not the carnal things of this world, not those feel-good messages. No. When I started hearing those scriptures, when I started hearing those songs about Him, that it truly changed me. And I went down in the mines one day on my face and cried out to a man that I've never seen, that I didn't know nothing about, only heard about this man. And it was the same way back in his time when he roamed this earth. When he walked, the people heard about him, and they had faith that he would heal them. Listen, there wasn't no social distancing. When Jesus walked through the lands, the multitudes were crowd around Him. People with leprosy. You can't even touch those people. But this man was touching them. We can't figure this virus out. We don't know if we're going to be able to stop it. For all we know, there could be a second wave. But I'll tell you here today, there's one that I read about. There's one that I pray to that gave sight to those who were blind, that just felt the virtue leave his body. When that woman with the issue of blood just reached out. This world needs to reach out here today.
Amen.
And we're given a good opportunity.
That's right.
And I'm going to give way and just let these brothers come.
We'll let Brandy come.
Logan's here this morning. And I hope that you're going to feel the same way that I do when I leave here today. It's been too long.
Yep, that's right.
It's been way too long, and I've already been blessed from the moment they were singing. That was a blessing. We take it for granted. We take for granted that first 30 minutes when we're sitting here and just people are singing. We take for granted for that 2 or 3, 4 minute prayer that we have here.
That's right.
This should teach us all here today not to be taking these things for granted.
Yep, that's for sure.
Your life or this right here.
Amen.
You come on, Brother Brandon.